Hi, everyone, and welcome. This is Karen Newman. This is the Saturday Human Colony Hucolo webinar. It is Saturday, the 17th of September, 2022, and I just want to welcome you. We're doing an open channeling today, meaning you can ask any question, and one of our wonderful
Hi, everyone, and welcome.
channelers
This is
here,
Karen
including
Newman.
myself, will answer your question. So we're gonna try it like this, just to sort of make it a tag team event. See how we go with some channeling. I wanted to take my glasses off, but you guys are just blobs, so I really need to have my glasses on so I can see you. All right, who wants to do a blessing before we get started? And then we'll have Angie do announcements after the blessing. Susan, you'll do a blessing?
Yeah, I can do one.
Okay, Celeste, do you want to do a blessing? This big
I
whopping.
would not know what to say at the moment. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So Angie will do a blessing and the announcements. So should we start with announcements or blessings? Which one? Do announcements and then we'll do blessing. Okay.
Good morning. This is Angie, and our next class is scheduled. It is a channeling class. It is Saturday, October 15th, 1:30 to 5:30 Eastern Standard Time. You can register for the class, or if you have questions, send an email to classes@hucolo.org. The cost is $150. And this class is for anyone that wants to learn to channel, already channel, and want to increase their skills. Again, Saturday, October 15th, $150, 1:30 to 5:30 Eastern Standard Time. Jim is going to be the facilitator of this class as well. I'm going to be there as well, but yes.
Oh, announce our class.
What's that?
Announce the Mastering Tarot class.
And then Karen and I are going to be doing well, Karen's doing it. I'm going to help her facilitate that as well. The Mastering the Tarot class. The date hasn't been scheduled yet, but we also want to let everybody know that we will be doing that class together, Mastering the Tarot.
Mm-hmm. In January, and we're going to look at how to do some contacting your guides, some practical applications that have to do with channeling to facilitate channeling a little more using tarot, so you can learn about your guides. You can also learn about past lives. You can look at different aspects and how to apply tarot in a way that maybe you didn't think to use it before. So that'll be fun. So
yes, the cost on that will also be $150. And then if you're interested in that, classes@hucolo.org.
Yes. And so it'd be nice if you have a familiarity with tarot, because then, but if people, it would be good if you indicate if you have any experience whatsoever.
Yeah.
Because we might have to do if we do it over 2 days, we might have to do a little primer for introduction to tarot. Tarot is a very complex, you can spend your entire life studying it, but there are some, practical things that you can start using it right away. And my goal will be to get people off the book, off the book of tarot, because you tend to not intuit as much when you're just reading meanings, as opposed to pulling an oracle card and you're like, oh, what does this mean? It's really good to start to integrate the symbolism so that in your psyche, your mind starts to put the things together into like a story. And that's really what, tarot is a tool, or, Bashar would say a permission slip. It's a very intricate, organized, well thought out, divined tool with all kinds of associations, whether it's astrology or tree of life or Egyptian mysticism, whatever it is. There are so many things to absorb that it's almost even impossible. You can take it down to nuclear science level of interpretation, but I have a much quicker way to start to integrate those symbols and the stories, and to again pull you off the book so that you're actively using it as a tool to stimulate your own intuition, because it's a tool to get yourself out of the way so that your information flows. So that's what we'll be teaching, and I'm excited. I'm
That's
excited
going to
do-
be in January and
January.
either probably the most likely the mid-January. And so if you're interested in that, classes at hucolo.org, and we will get you, I'll get you in the email. And then once the exact date is scheduled, the date and time scheduled, then we will get that, I'll get an email confirmation for registrations out.
Perfect. Okay, great. So, oh, good. Wendy's here. So welcome, Wendy. All right. And Christine. Hi, Christine. So why don't we start with blessings? And so we'll go Susan. I'm assuming Wendy wants to do a blessing, and Angie and Christine. Do you want to do a blessing or not? No. Okay. All right. Take it away, Susan. Go
All
ahead.
right. Te azia o hia kia zi ko totoia ia isika hosahia hi ko hia isika tia o siki tokoia ke azia ko tia hia yesu ko toi hosia ia kia ia sukuyu tia i ki raise your vibrations as a collective. Te azio ki ai te ia tukuto yes ki ai ki azio ye join your hearts as one sukoto ia tia ko hazia kia te koto toto ia yes kia o hazia koto ia sikia yu sikia ia ko sikia o ia sikia to ia hia sukoya ia sikia yu sukoya ia tukoya ia. You are surrounded by your star brothers and sisters sukoya ia Huasiai is sending our loving support. Sukotai for all that you do. Sukotoya sikiai o sikiai o sikiaya sikia hu tiai. Continue on the ascension path to kotaya to greater and greater heights. So koyai of consciousness. So kototaya tia kotoya sikiai. Join in unity with us. We lend our energies to you. Hazayo kia sikiayo to kaya haziko toya sukotoya sukoya itia. You are greatly loved. Sukotoya itia sikototia isikia hosikaya toya. Blessings.
Okay. Wendy, you there?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, yes,
Can you hear me okay?
Hear you fine.
Okay. Aranyuro ko uhira hata ijua mamaiki. Aranyara ko yanara iro no. Anyara ko yanara tae. Achikitiana nara pauro to. Aratahira tata pawon yara taena. Aeto ko. Ahayero no ho chiria maera tae. Akahiro to nire tataira to poenya. Kara oro tu huyana nara kaira taira tu shiriana atian noro kapahira nara taira tu niti kapahai Blessings to you, the human collective of the beings that are on earth. We want you to connect more with us, the element beings on earth. We are your elements, the air, the water, the earth, the fire. Find ways to be with us, to love us, to feel our energy. Our energies are here to support you. The plants are here. Take time to observe us, to see us, to feel us. When you eat the fruit of Mother Earth, you connect more fully with our essence. We are here to support you. We are here to be together in this journey, in this love of life. Use the sound of music for your ears to notice the waves in the air. Use the water to notice the waves of energy through your body, through your fingers. And then I just heard, you are blessed, you are loved. Blessings.
Perfect. Go ahead, Angie. And I'm going to play a song after. You were saying use music, and I was just holding my instrument.
Oh my
so-
gosh, that's awesome. Synchronicities.
Tu u tia su una haichi chia ka anu u. Mihi a o no chia ia ka a ono to ura. Ni ia a kutuku chu iem da a u. Ha a no a ni a ia a. Huudu a na hotukura te ni.
This is the a moksha mantra. It's the Mahamrityunjaya mantra, which is the great mantra against death, the sort of anti-death, the opposite of death, but life. This is a mantra that is used throughout Hinduism in fire ceremonies for washing away that which is not wanted. It's also when someone is dying, you chant this mantra to help them pass, because basically what you're saying is that I'm ready to be brought into my knowing of who I am. And with that, there is no death, but only life, as a sort of layman's interpretation. But it's also a great great love mantra of acknowledging the divinity of God, and that we are just here to know, God being the great mover, but also us being part of that, and to know ourselves. And by surrendering to that, we transcend life, basically. It's a great mantra of surrender. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhana Urvarukamiva Bandhana Mritya Mukshi Amamrita Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhana Urvarukamiva Bandhana Mritya Mukshi Amamrita. I am yours, you are mine. I am yours, you are mine. Love, it spans the sands of time. I am yours, you are mine. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Hey Sugandhim Pushti Vardhana Urvarukamiva Bandhana Mritya Mukshi Amamrita. I am yours, you are mine. We'll be just fine. I am yours, you mine. Love, it spans the sands of time. I am yours, you mine. Trayambakam yajamahe, hey, Sugandhim pushtivaranam, Urvarukamiva bandhanam, Mritya mukshya mamrita. Okay. Please turn your cameras back on, but just sit in the presence if you want. All right, for those of you who just arrived, and I'm speaking to you, Wendy, Lilypad, and Christine, who came, we're going to do an open channeling, which means we're going to allow everyone to ask questions, but the answer will be given by maybe one or multiple people channeling, conscious channeling, and or however they channel, but quickly in succession, just to give everyone sort of like an open mic channeling class, just to give everyone a chance to channel, practice to do it, and to have a variety of different questions from different people. So think of your best questions as questions that have been burning in your heart. And yeah, we will be able to do that. I'm looking at the YouTube chat. If anyone wants to ask questions in there, feel free. And Posthuman, if you want to know the name of the entity that spoke to Elijah last week, Angie, do you know it? Oh, you're muted.
The entity after it was a Kalindi, and it was a Kalindi, and oh gosh, I don't know the name of the entity.
Well, just you go back and watch the video.
We can't because the first 30 minutes was not recorded. Though it starts in
the Kalindi was recorded.
only
the first, no, Elijah was not recorded.
Right.
So the Kalindi is in the recording.
Right. The Kalindi is in the recording, but it's past the point of the person's name. So I
don't think so. Because
I listened.
It was?
Yeah.
Well, you know what, Postman, if you can, Posthuman, if you can wait till next week when Jim is here, we'll ask him. That'll be one of the first questions we'll ask. So hold tight. But it was a Kalindi that spoke.
Yeah, Kalindi. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. And maybe Angie, if you can check, because he sent me an email and I said I would check. So
okay.
if you can check with him and maybe let me know, and then I can email him.
Perfect.
Cool. So we will get this answer for you. Yeah. All right. Okay. So who has a question? I think Mavis has, thank you. Who has a question? And then we can start with a question. Mavis was saying you needed to be in touch with Gaia. So what is your question? And then we can kind of take it from there. We'll start with questions. And this is open questions, open channeling. So anybody that has a question, other than who was the being that was there last week, yeah, then we will take a question. Susan had a dream. Go ahead. You're muted.
Okay, I was going to type it, but I'll say it. So, yeah, I woke up this morning, I was having a dream and there was like a new love interest in this dream that I was basically waking up in the dream and I felt, and this new love interest came over and gave me a kiss to what, to wake me up in the morning. So, and he looked like a character on TV, but I kind of felt like this was like a new love. And I know that eventually I'm supposed to have maybe a new love coming into my life in the future. So I'm, yeah, I'm wondering if this was like a glimpse into that or had any relevance whatsoever to my path forward, I guess.
Well, let me ask you, I have to ask you one question, and then maybe Angie, do you have your hand up or are you just pulling energy, Angie?
Answer.
Okay. I do wonder if you do, and I'll come right to you. Do you do, what is it called? Dream, what is it called when you're dreaming?
Dream interpretation?
No, dreaming.
Lucid?
Lucid, thank you. Do you do
Yeah,
lucid?
yeah, I occasionally do. And it did feel very lucid. And I felt like it seemed almost like I was a younger version of myself, like in my 20s. And we were up at my like family lake cabin, which we used to have, which we don't anymore. And I was up there with some friends, and all of my friends were like outside on the beach or whatever in front of the cabin. And I was alone in the cabin with this love interest that I felt like came out of town, and this was like our first time meeting, and so it's kind of awkward and sweet, and this kiss that we share or several kisses, and that like I had fallen asleep, I was sleeping on the couch, and I was waking up, because we had a full house of friends or whatever, and it was kind of that thing, kind of like young and innocent love from back in my 20s is what it felt like. But it was someone I didn't know, but it reminded me of a character on TV, and a cute guy. So I was like, and so yeah, it was a nice way to wake up this morning. But
Okay, let's let
yes.
Angie answer. Go ahead, Angie. And she's got it. She put her hand right up as soon as you started talking. So I'm going to pass it over to her.
This is you, because it was you in the younger sense before the world really got a hold of you. You were in there alone because you were in there with yourself. When you were embracing this person and kissing them, it is you embracing yourself in the fullness of who you need to be. It is this embracement that has been waiting for a very long time. You have grown into the person that you need to be, and now you are willing to embrace it. Not in the sense that the love was there is because this is what you have been longing for, not personally a romantic relationship, but however, a love of yourself in the sense that you are turning into the person that you need to be.
Oh, beautiful.
Beautiful. Yes.
And you're apparently a young hot guy in your
Well, I felt like I was, yeah, like a younger version of myself. And yeah, like, it was like young, innocent feeling of love. Yeah.
That's beautiful. And it can also be, when we're in the highest state, and when we're in the best state, that's the best place to meet somebody. You want to meet someone who matches your energy. You don't want to meet someone when you're, down the ground and groveling. You want to meet someone who's up and happy and, thriving, so that your relationship starts off on a high note. So I would say you're probably getting ready and making room for someone.
Yeah, and the location is one of my favorite places, the cabin. So yeah, so it's a wonderful feeling, wonderful dream. So
I'm going to pull you a Ganesha card, because I brought my Ganesh cards. They're so pretty. Let's see what it says. It says priorities. So now it's, sometimes relationships are not a priority. Sometimes job, other stuff is priority. And maybe now is about really looking at what's important for you, what's not as important, what you want to put your time in, what do you make room for. And they always say, my mom was a proponent of this, that if you want to make room for someone in your life, your home is the microcosm of the macrocosm of your life, right? So make room in your home clear out space where someone could theoretically put their stuffs in your drawer and have room in your closet, and make your decoration inviting to more than just like you or female, but make it, you know what I mean? Just start to, and put things like 2 flowers in a vase, or they say over in your bedroom area, a little feng shui, have partnership symbolism throughout your bedroom and your home, so that it's very inviting. And start to, in your meditation, send out the invitation, and bring the perfect person in the perfect moment that matches my energy, that brings me all that which I desire, and let me, not only that person be all the things that I'm wanting, but the same. So, and just know that that person is coming. I know that this person is out there and coming. I know that this person has been waiting their entire life to meet me. All of those things. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Thank you. Oh, Christine has Ganesh cards. Oh, that's nice. They're beautiful, aren't they? They're so beautiful. Yeah. Okay. Wendy had a dream. Wendy was late because she had a dream, apparently. What was your dream? Do you want a dream interpretation, or do you already know what it is?
I already know, and it was Mother Sophia, and she was connecting with me and giving me a message. And actually, that's what I ended up when I was doing my light language and the interpretation came through. It actually was my dream interpretation coming through.
Okay.
So
all
that
right.
was
So
cool.
do you
But the
actually have a
question-
question then? Yeah.
Yeah. So the question I have is, I would like, if somebody would like to channel the Pleiadian star mothers, I want to find out how they want us to connect with them, or their preferred methodology, while we are in Mount Shasta.
I already have an answer.
Oh, beautiful.
In dreams. In dream time, but there.
Cool.
So what's interesting is that you will be doing a lot of other things that you can invite their energy to be with you, but they're going to talk to you in dreams. That's my feeling, but not maybe only just to you, but to others that'll be there. So you could, this is what I'm seeing, is that you could set the intention before you sleep to get these messages, and other people that are there can also receive the messages, and you can compare sort of the next morning. But I heard they're going to connect you in dreams, through dreams.
Wow. Awesome.
But there, in that energy, really make a calling to them specifically, invite them into your dream time, invite them to communicate. But within that sort of vortex energy of Mount Shasta, you probably have a lot of dream visitors, but specifically look to them. And then the other thing is that if you can lucidly dream and work on lucid dream with them, then that would be a beautiful
That's
way.
interesting.
You'll be able to see
I've
them
actually
and experience them.
Oh, yeah. I've actually been working on astral travel. Like for a couple months, I've been like working on it more specifically, to have that conscious meditation of, connecting in with the body, floating out of the body, saying, I'm not my body, I'm not my mind, I am light energy, and kind of, giving myself that freedom to travel. So, but yeah, anybody wanting to do that, there's lots of information for astral travel. And I always say, protect yourself when you are preparing to do astral travel, and then enjoy.
I just got a message too, that I don't know if you've considered it, but maybe the week before you go to Mount Shasta.
That's now.
Oh, you're going when?
Because it's next Wednesday.
Perfect. So you have a few days. You might want to fast. You might want to fast off of sugar, processed foods, really eat very just clean things like vegetables and, non-animal products, no dairy, and just clean out your system. If you can handle it, reduce your caffeine greatly. or at all, and really so that
Yeah.
you're very
I eat
open.
pretty close to that already, and it will not
Okay.
be hard for me to like pull cheese products out and to not eat fish for a couple days before we get there.
Yeah,
So
just for a
yeah,
couple
because
days. Yeah,
yeah,
and really
beautiful.
bless, honor all your water and everything before you drink it, especially there, using the energy. And oh, the other thing I'm hearing is take some crystals with you that you can ground in that energy. You're already doing that, but I just heard
Yep.
okay, good. Yeah, yeah.
You're
So,
reading, quit reading our minds.
yeah, okay. So, cool, but do that for sure, for sure.
Thank you.
You can bring that energy back with you. Did you have anything, Angie, on that? Did you get any information? Information?
Promotion, yes. While you're there, they want you to draw the energies up, not only mostly from Gaia, but the Pleiadian, the star people, they want you, yes, that's going to come down, but Gaia wants you to, there's some energy work. There's energy work there that you have to do, but she wants you to really draw up these energies. It's, the people that are there will know that these are the energies. You may feel them, you may not, but yes, you specifically intend to draw in the energies.
Yes, thank you, because I think I would have thought drawing them down versus drawing them up. So that's
She
the
says
perfect
up.
message. Yes,
She
thank
says
you.
up.
Lovely. Woohoo. Did you get anything, Susan?
Yeah, nothing immediately came to me, but yeah, the dreaming, yeah, resonated though. Yeah, because I'll be one of the ones going on the trip as well, and along with about 6 or 8 of us, I think.
Actually, we're at about 12 people who will be.
Oh, we are.
12,
It's
yeah,
grown
12,
since last time.
yeah, 12, 13, and then a couple may drop in from the area. So so we'll see. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I was asking because I do speak light language from a Pleiadian star mother. I haven't channeled her yet, but I'll see if anything else comes up later. I can let you know.
Cool. Okay.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you all.
really welcome. Celeste has a question, then we'll go to the YouTube questions, unless someone else has a question in the room. Celeste, hi.
Hi, hello. Good
Hi.
afternoon. Good afternoon, Karen, and to you all, you beautiful ladies.
I know we're such a girl group now. Well, we've got the Mavis and we've got Celeste, so sorry.
The question is for Spirit. I'm ready to hear whatever messages Spirit has for me for this present moment.
Oh, Angie, go, you go, Angie.
They were like, I have something to say to him. You are already at the point of where you need to be. Your mind, your body, and your soul is in alignment with the path that you are on. And so continue on to that path. More information is going to be coming to you, as Karen has said before, through the dream state, but you will also start to now begin to receive the information of the transformation of really who you need to be. Right now, this world is going through a large transformation in the sense of shedding the old and bringing in the new. It is the time for this. What applause, but that was that. Sorry about that. But Karen, you're muted. We can't hear you.
I was there telling you to unmute. You're not mute.
I'm like, how do I mute? I'm like, whoop, come out of that. Yep.
I just
So,
pulled 2 cards just for you at the same time. Two popped out and it said, first one said clear energy, personal transformation. So you just That's just, it's completely just allowing things to just fall away that need to
Yes.
fall away,
Yes.
clearing, grounding, and it's happening now.
Yeah.
It's happening now. So, yay. Did you have more, Ange, before you?
Before
Or-
Jim called.
Is that Jim?
That was Jim. It was like Jim Charles. I'm like, okay.
We're in a webinar, Jim.
So, yeah, that was just even more.
I got a message for him too.
Okay, great.
So right before Angie started speaking, I heard, you are already doing exactly what you need to do. You are on your path. Continue to be you. Continue to be who you are. They're elaborating now. I say they, spirit, right? Continue to be who you are in what you're doing. It's in all that you do, with your attention, with your heartfelt moving, with what you are picking up on what you want to do. This is where your true connection comes from. Follow your heart. Continue to follow your own divine guidance. You are exactly where you need to be. That's all I got.
I'll just add something. One of the hardest things is not knowing what's next, because we are a human animal that likes to plan. We like to know that, what Monday brings, what Tuesday brings. And this idea of just allowing and being okay with not knowing is a real shift for us, because we like to know, if I put in my coin in the machine, that soda or that candy bar is going to come out. And part of being in the moment and in the flow is not living in the future and not living in the past, and also being in great appreciation in every moment, so that you are really, really present. If you are really focusing on, I'm so glad I have my feet. Look at my pants. At least I have pants. I'm so, thank you to the person who made the pants. And then also not only being an appreciation of all that's going on, but also to be in sort of a walking meditation of being centered, from being even if you're washing dishes, being the person who's observing that which is being the washer of the dishes, and learning to sort of step out of yourself into your higher awareness and become the observer of you, the one washing the dishes, or you, the one walking down the street or going to get the mail, and these sort of what we consider to be meaningless tasks of the body, but to continually connect and to be centered. So in the moments of your deep sadhana meditation, you are really open and you're not carrying a lot of junk with you, so that you can really be present. But, everyone always thinks that there's something you have to do once you reach a kind of awareness of your divine self. But in truth, you are really being invited to bask in the beauty of the oneness that you are. And when you are experiencing that, and you're really in that still, perfect, centered space, there's no questions really. There's nothing to do. There's nothing, you realize you don't need anything. And what really comes out of it later is, how can you, help other people? That's sort of a later stage if you start looking into, how do I serve? How do I help other people? But I don't believe there's anything you're waiting for. I feel that it's already there for you, because it is you. It's just you now embracing that. And there's nothing that's sort of the great starter. I mean, maybe you'll end up teaching, maybe you'll end up facilitating meditation, maybe you'll do something like that. But for now, until that divine inspiration comes, The only thing you have to do is really be, and be without any expectation that there needs to be anything more, because it's perfect right then. And getting into that perfection, for a lot of people, that's a very hard thing, because you're like, well, yeah, but what do I do with this? I mean, every person who wakes up thinks, okay, I've got to go be a spiritual teacher now. Well, maybe you just have to be right now. Maybe you just have to be in the moment and experience life from the vantage point of being in the moment. Experience life with the idea that everything is perfect, that it's perfect how it is. If there's something that you can improve, you improve it. But for the rest, just to be. It doesn't mean you do nothing. It just means you do it with more awareness than you've ever done it before. Good, Ange.
I mean, you are 100% right on, because, you know, so many people say that, or so many people are being told that they have missions and things like that. For a long time, my monkey mind went into, well, what does that mean? What does that look like? But when I let it go and just live for right now, this moment, today, Saturday, September 17th, I can't worry about. I know that I will be, a servant to the ascension, but I'm not going to go into the future and try and figure it out. I can only live for right now, today, this moment, on this webinar. And that's how I really, truly can be at peace with myself, instead of racking my brain. Oh, what have I got to do? Do I have to do this? Do I have to, what kind of, just be. Just like you said, 100% just be, because we are at this point where people are not just being. They're trying to figure out what I got to do in the future. And it makes your life much more difficult. It makes it more difficult if you don't.
It also keeps you out of the moment. It's just as much of a distraction of trying to figure out. I mean, it's one thing to ask sort of what's coming, how is this going to look? But there's another thing of where you're sitting there going, well, where is it? Because what you're saying in that is, my life will not be okay until I get or have or am that certain thing. Right. And the part of being in the moment, the part of being grounded into the now, is to realize that you are exactly where you're supposed to be.
Right.
You are exactly perfect at this moment. It doesn't mean that things won't change, that you won't change, other actions will happen, but truly at the core of everything, you are a divine being. And it's so funny, Ange, as you were asking that question in the chat, came up a question from Anna Yes D, and says, how do I know that I'm on the path, and what is my purpose and the mission? And I promise you, the word mission, I was reading it right as you were saying mission. He says, so basically, he's asking, like, how does he know what his mission is? And how does he not miss signs or not ignore them? How does he know when he has to do something? And how does he know when he has to just observe? You go ahead. I'll answer too in a second.
The main portion of that question is, how do you know? If it feels right, if you are being led, like, gosh, I really got to go do that, or if it feels like it's what you need to be doing, then that's the path that you need to do. You still have to live your daily life. You have to live your life. You have to live, and do your daily things. But if something is drawing you, I'm going to take Wendy, for instance. Wendy is drawn to go to Mount Shasta because she has energy work there. So she's, at this moment, that's what her mission is. At this moment, excuse me, her mission is to go to Mount Shasta. But you know what? Next week, her mission, God would, Source Light is going to have her do something different.
So take care of her grandchild,
Yes.
I mean, no real life that has to be led.
Exactly. Yeah. So how do you know? If you feel drawn, if you feel led to do it, if it's just saying, you all of a sudden you just feel the need to say a prayer, you just feel the need to, that's the path.
Yeah. And it's interesting because it's when the divine pull comes, that inspiration, like, I have to go to Mount Shasta. I have to go. Okay, I'm going. But if you're not feeling anything, then your mission is to be, and to be as in alignment as you can be in that moment, that is your mission. Your mission only, I mean, I think the word mission it puts a lot of pressure because we all think Hawaii 5-0 or what is that? Your mission, is that Hawaii 5-0? Should you choose to accept it? You know, but you're in Hinduism, they call it your dharma, your purpose. Your purpose is to know yourself as divinity, to know yourself as God, to have and be in that alignment. That's everyone's. It's not just mine. It's not just Angie's. It's not Celestia's only. It's everyone's true purpose is to know themselves for who they truly are. And that does not mean that who they truly are is a Pleiadian in a human body. It means you are a source of the divinity. You might be a Pleiadian in a human body. You might be an Arcturian hybrid mix, blah, blah, blah. But the truth of all of that, those are like labels, but the truth of who we truly are at our core, at our essence, is that we are divinity having the experience of being, for now, human. Maybe it's human who was a Pleiadian, blah, blah. But the true thing is we are divinity having a human experience on a planet called Earth, for lack of knowing any other term that we might be called outside of the planet. But that's who we are. And to be able to connect to that truth will blow open your entire mind and your entire being, and you'll have such a deeper understanding. And that may be all you need to know. That may be all you need to do. But everybody's mission is not necessarily to go and do something. It may not be to go anywhere at all. It may be just to make the best family that you can make, to have the most loving, supportive, beautiful family. It might be to invent something. It might be, but that's an action that you're taking. But your dharma, your true purpose, which I don't feel should be confused with mission. But your true purpose is to know yourself as divinity. Your missions come and go. They will change. And like Angie was saying so perfectly, that your mission maybe go to Mount Shasta, but then what? You know, your mission may be to help your neighbor across the street, and then what? But your purpose is to know yourself. So, and then there's another question that they sort of group wise in the chat want to ask, and I think it's a good question for us to mull over, but we'll go back to, does that answer your question, Anais, for now, a little bit? That's all I have. Oh, and the other question he asked is how do I know when to do something, and how do I know when to just observe? You do something when you feel a great inspiration to do it, and when it's for your highest good. You know, you might feel the impulse to hit someone, maybe resist that one. But when you feel an impulse, a divine pull to action, a call to make a difference. So, okay. All right. So Wendy's husband has a question. We haven't ever heard from Wendy's husband. So I think, oh, look at Barbara with her picture. Oh, that's awesome. Wait, I'm going to pin it. Wait, I'm going to pin it for everyone. Oh, can I, here, look at her picture. That's really cute. Okay. Wendy, did you want to answer your question?
And of course, my husband stepped away, but I'm going to go ahead and ask his question. So he has observed that many animals have been almost like they're coming to die with him. Or to like end their life, because he said squirrels will like run in front of his tree. Birds are almost like coming together. Even bugs are like crawling onto his desk to perish. So he's wondering, why is this all of a sudden happening that I'm observing it? And I said, I told him, I think it's because you're observing it. It's happening more. Like you've put it out into the universe that it's happening, and now so it's happening more. But
See,
what do you guys think?
I have actually tonight in satsang, there was a beautiful story was told. So why are bugs coming to him to die? Because he's killing them?
That's as well.
Is that what, that's what, is he, because he's killing the bugs? Is she there? Wendy.
I'm here. Yes. So mostly it started with animals, but now bugs are also coming.
To die. Because
Yeah.
he's killing them.
Yeah. He literally had a cardinal come in front of his vehicle and get hit. Literally. Like, he's like, what? How does that happen? Or
Okay.
yeah, or a squirrel running across the road and then stopping in front of him. And how can he avoid it? He's like in the middle of moving. So, in a vehicle. So, but then, yeah, just more recently, he started sending me photos of critters that are like showing up at his office desk. So, yeah.
And he's killing the critters on his desk.
No, he's not doing that at all. They're coming and they're within his vision. Oh, and then the hawk came in and there was a field mouse, and literally outside its window, the hawk caught the field mouse and was having a meal.
Okay.
So,
That's what
yeah. So he's saying, why are all these little animals like perishing to his attention, that he's noticing? He's like, why are they coming to like have me end their lives in some instances? Not always. It hasn't always been that instant, but it has happened with a few where he ended up ending their life, and others where he observed their life being ended, and others where they've come to like literally like come to his desk, and then that comes in the next morning and there's these bugs on top of his desk that they're not typically there. So that's why he's noticing and observing them
on his desk, and they're just dead when he gets there.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. My feeling is that, and this might sound trite, but it's really that to be aware of the fragileness of life and how it is a cycle, and that they must feel safe to do it there with him. The bugs might just feel that there's a beautiful energy on his desk, and that's a great place to release the ghost. And the birds, I guess, when they come at the vehicle, or the squirrels and things, it might be their bad luck, but maybe it's just so that your husband, who has the awareness that this is happening and isn't someone who would just say, oh, well, must be their time, or, oh, well, stupid bird, who doesn't say that, but he can actually take the time to just bless them and just wish their soul a safe journey to wherever it was going now. And for him to be aware that life is so very much a gift and very fragile and can end in a moment. He's having the experience, so the only thing that he's asking for is the awareness of why. And if he is the harbinger of death for these animals, I don't think it's that way, though he has helped them pass over for whatever reason. And maybe if he can avoid it, he can avoid it. It's not like he's saying, well, they're in the way and I can't avoid it, so I'm just going to run them over. But to have him help them on their way. And again, to just, every time that happens, to just appreciate his own blessing in continuing to breathe and walk and be here. That's what I would say. I would also say, if he gets a chance to save a bug or to save a bird or to save something, he should do that too. And there was a wonderful story that Sadhviji just told in satsang right before I came here. And she was at a event, and the Dalai Lama was there. And she was seated, he was sitting next to Puja Swamiji, who's the head of the ashram here. Dalai Lama was, and Sadhviji was behind him. And as she was sitting there and they were listening to the different speakers talk, the Dalai Lama kept bending over. And she thought, what, he did it so many times that he would bend over and then he would hand something to his attendant. And she thought, what's he doing? And he kept doing it. And he was sitting there on this large podium, and he kept bending over, and then she finally just sort of leaned forward. And what he was doing is that there was all of these sort of caterpillars that were from the trees and had fallen onto the stage. And people were walking up and down to get in their seats and to go give their speech. And the Dalai Lama was leaning over, and every time a caterpillar got near to him, he would pick it up and he would give it to his guard to take to the grass so that the caterpillar wouldn't be hurt or be smushed. You know, he's the Dalai Lama, and what comes out of deep connection and deep meditation is compassion. And so when possible, you can be compassionate no matter who you are, no matter what you're doing, and no matter where you are. And so really that, and you know, his life is just an example of compassion. But for us, it's just the idea of maybe we don't have to run over the squirrel, but if we do, we understand that it's a unfortunate thing, but maybe in the larger scheme, just to teach us a lesson. And if we can avoid the caterpillar or the bug or the ant or whatever, we take the moment to scoop them up and to make a difference in their existence, but not just bugs, but people and animals and all kinds of situations, but to have the awareness of that. So your husband is being called forward to help, maybe to transition other beings. So, and they also feel safe to do it there, but maybe he can send them on their way in a beautiful way if they come to him and it's beyond his control, you know. So that would be my answer.
That's a beautiful response. And actually, I was hearing the confirmations of it, that he is meant to be compassionate, which he's already feeling, but to give them that blessing to send them on the way is his next step. So awesome.
There's a sect of Hinduism called Jainism. Actually, Jainism is its own belief system, but they are very, very much about do no harm, do not cause any suffering. And they actually walk with these sort of little brooms so that as they walk, they sweep the sidewalk so that any ants or bugs or anything, they're very gentle brooms. They're not like brisk brooms, but they're these little sort of things that they just sort of move the animals and bugs and things out of their way so that they're not inadvertently causing harm, you know. So
yeah, that's very awesome. Yeah, I find myself doing that often, that if there's a spider, I don't want to just smoosh him in the house, you know. It's like carry him out, put him in a glass jar. But I know many are.
That meme? Did you ever see that meme with the spider that says, did you ever think that the spider that you just killed really just thought you were his roommate and he really loved you very much? Did you ever see that meme?
I didn't see that, no.
I know.
But there's this cartoon that I saw along the lines of you know, getting that emotion out. There, it's a therapist, and there's a frog sitting in the chair and a witch laying down on the therapist's bed. And the frog says to her, "That's right, get it all out."
That's really cute. All right, let's see. Angie had a response. Go for it, Angie. Mama, you gotta unmute yourself though.
Unmute. Yeah. Lovely.
Unmuting. I wanted to go back to Celeste a little bit, and I wanted to bring about this. He had wrote in there that, you know, he's really becoming the observer lately. You know, my personal life, like I've been shown that it's not just observe the people around you, observe what is happening, observe the actions, observe. You will really be able to come into an understanding in a much greater and deeper way. And I've done that, and just the fact that just observing just observing everything is a key to a part of me and my growth. Be the observer. Don't always want to be giving the answer or giving, just observe everything. It's really changed a portion of my thought process, because before or in the past, I've always, listened and then wanted to respond. But now, like I've gone to a few parties, and all I'm doing is just observing the people, observing what is around me. And I'm just like, I never really noticed before. You really get an understanding of people differently when you can just observe nature. You can, I've gone outside and I've sat in my back and just observed the trees and and then I'm also meditating during that time. But it's the portion of observing is really becoming forefront in my mind, observing actions of others, observing what it is like maybe that they're feeling or thinking. So I just really wanted to share that with you, Salesh.
Thank you very much. With me, what happens is I observe, and the most important thing for me that's happening is I don't judge anymore. I do not judge.
No judgment. You're 100% correct. No judgment. Well, we can take judgment away from everything. It's a different thought process.
And all of a sudden, the people that I can see the difference, because when I used to judge them before, like the family, especially the family parties, they're totally different now. They appear to be different beings. It's because my perception of them has changed from within, because I'm going with the complete and total discernment. And it is a beautiful, beautiful way just to be. Because I used to get into very argumentative, Sailesh used to step in and his mind used to take over. And we all know when the ego comes in, it is horrendous, but it has its part. Ego has its parts. I'm not saying to be rid of the ego, but just being observed, especially because I've been following him a lot. And also Swami Vivekananda and Yoganananda's works. And I have learned, just be. And it's beautiful, especially I resonated very well with you and Karen. And I'm so happy. And hope to see you soon anyway.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, I want to do this question before we go to Susan's question. Because this is a question that a lot of people have, and it's, I think I get confused by it as well. I know my channeled answer for it, and I know what I feel about it, but I think on the surface it's confusing. So listen up, people. Just okay. Let me see. Get up. Here we go. First, a nice. I can't. Anna, yes, D said, what's going on with the time split? And then I wrote back and I wanted to clarify. I said, what do you mean by like the two Earths? Is that what you're saying? And he said, yes. He says, I keep seeing the information of the Earth timeline splitting. I didn't think it was new, but there are things happening where I live. And I'm wondering if that's because of that. And then also Cami said, yeah, in addition, please explain the concept of the time split. Does it mean a division of people in two destinations, perhaps? Question mark. So I think that would be a good thing to address. Yeah. So what does it mean?
I have a response.
Oh, please go ahead.
Yeah, they've given me a response. So the time split. The time split is happening as you are making your decisions to select your best choice for your life and or your not best choice for your life. So the timeline is always splitting. There's always multiple varieties of you on various dimensions, not only as you yourself, but as other avatars. And as you are making the decisions for what choices you want to make in your life, even when they don't feel like they are your choices, nonetheless, they are. So as you're making your timeline choices, this is the direction and the path that you are on. This is also why we are always recommending to you to find your highest joy. Choose your most pleasant experience, and this will help you be on your most benevolent path at all times. The highest joy may be the difference between choosing a piece of fruit and choosing a piece of chocolate. Make your choice. Make it your happiest choice. If you're going to be guilty choosing chocolate, don't. Choose chocolate. Choose that piece of fruit and be your happiest. If you will not find guilt in choosing that piece of chocolate, choose the piece of chocolate and enjoy it to its fullest. Savor the moment. That's the advice I have on the timelines. You're on mute. You're on
muted.
mute.
You're muted.
I said, Angie, did you have something to add on that, or anyone else? I do have something about that.
I don't have anything. I had to step away for just a moment, but so I didn't
Okay.
hear the question.
The
So
question is talking about the timeline split and what does it really mean? There's and both a couple people in the chat had these questions, and he was saying he was noticing some signs that in his own life that seem to be indicating that that's what's happening. I have two things to say about it. One is that it was an idea that was presented in 2012 when the Great Alignment or something happened. I don't remember even what it was called now. And there was supposed to be this sort of shift from 4D to 5 or 3D to 5D, and that timeline was supposed to be becoming more apparent, or that switch to a higher dimension was becoming more grounded to where it could be accessible by humans. And then there was the idea put forth by Bashar initially that there would be a splitting of Earths, a splitting of timelines, that people of one vibration would stay on one Earth and people on another vibration would go to another Earth, but that it would be sort of a sudden thing. You could liken it to a rapture or to some other event. I don't know if I buy into that, and I'll tell you why. And I'm not saying it's incorrect. I'm saying for me personally, I'm very logical. If you've ever listened to me, I'm very analytical in my understanding of things. And there's certain things about that I can't make that jump. And I'll tell you why. We are already, and physics already tells us that we have multiple timelines going at any given time anyway. There may be a thing that we are so much in alignment as a humanity that we switch to a certain timeline, and maybe people switch at different times. So we may all be there together, or we may stay at different ones. But every choice that we make, every action that we take that is, takes us away from one choice into another, theoretically creates another timeline. So I don't know quite why or how one truth would trump the other truth. So like, we're creating all these timelines, yet we jumped to this sort of major one, and that there's this idea that there was going to be two Earths. And I'm not saying it's incorrect, and because I know it flies in the face of what a lot of people have been channeling, but I do that a lot, is I do tend to question some things, that you were going to be left behind and I was going to go somewhere, or I was going to be left behind. And people were saying goodbye to their families. They were like, I'm not going to see you anymore, because when that clock strikes 12 and that, we go into this new year, I'm going to this better timeline. and you're going to be left here basically in the hell version of Earth, and I'm going to heaven where everything is perfect and bad things don't exist. Well, come on. I don't know that that is possible in truth. Not based on our past experience of living. I mean, we have good times and we have bad times as humanity, as a planet, as a person. We're here to experience and to have a life and to create a future, but we're also here to have a human life. And this idea that somehow we're just going to split into two Earths, I just don't, it doesn't seem right to me. I do feel that there is everything at the same time. And depending on where you are within your own advancement spiritually, you're going to experience life from a very different vantage point than, say, someone else. But that's already true. I mean, if you are a person who, basically gets up every day, has food on their table, can bathe themselves, can visit their friends, can spend some time online on, watching a webinar, you have a much different life and a much different vantage point than the guy who's living on the streets in California and who's a drug addict and doesn't have shoes and, is struggling every day just to, eat. And maybe he's having to go to crime in order to feed a drug habit that somehow or another is killing him alive. He's living in a virtual hell. Doesn't mean he can't get out of it or make changes, but his vantage point and his appreciation of life and his experience is going to be vastly different. You could say you're living on two different planets. You're living in two different totally experiences, but on the same planet. There's also the phenomena of when you're not in the same vibration with people, they do kind of go out of your life. You don't contact them anymore. They're not interested in contacting you. It's not that they cease to be or you cease to be, but you just don't even see each other anymore. You don't have any desire to see them. They don't desire. You might wonder where they are, but they'll somehow or another move in, move out. They might move away. You might move away. So I believe very much in that kind of phenomenon of different timelines, but I really don't necessarily. Now I could be wrong, and I'm happy to be wrong in this, but just based on it was supposed to happen in 2012. Well, hello. Unless it happened and we didn't go and we're all still here waiting, thinking like chumps that, hey, one day this big timeline thing's going to happen. It already happened. Then okay. But I don't know. I think that we have so much work to do here, just in coming into our own awareness of ourselves, just on proving to the planet that we deserve to live on it in harmony, that we can actually love our planet and take care of it and take care of our animals and be the stewards of our beautiful planet. We haven't done that yet. I just think that we've got a lot to do before we're going to reap all these rewards that we may or may not even deserve at this point. I mean, I think there's probably one or two people actually walking this planet that are that great and that good and that deserving. And they're not in my reality. So they're probably already moved into some higher dimension. You know what I mean? So in that way, I'm not experiencing them. I just feel like we have a lot of work, and this idea that somehow or another Santa Claus is going to come in, whether in the form of an alien or Jesus, and save us from ourselves is not realistic. We are here to have the experience, to be that which we know that we really are, and to live it. And I think once we're in that state, why would we need to go to another planet? Why would there need to be a different timeline? Why would there need to be anything better? We're creating our own reality based on our actions that we're taking right now in this moment in this time. So, it might just be a terminology that I don't get and I don't understand, but that's my feeling. That's my deep, true feeling. And I really don't subscribe to this idea, unless it is what I said, and then okay. But I think that what I said is true for me. So, anyone else have a comment?
I the words that you said resonate very, very strongly in the sense that, remember, we've been hearing for so long that we create our own reality. We do create our own reality. And then the shift, and then when you bring in a shift, it have really possibly could have only been a shift in consciousness and not the actual splitting, because like you said, some people come into your lives, they're not your right vibration. 100% believe that's the shift that you're talking about, because as we move forward in our consciousness, as we move forward in our thoughts, as we move forward advancing our vibration, and the people are still back here, like you say, they may still be existing, but they're not in our existence, in our reality, in our thoughts, but they still exist. So are they left? Sure, they may be over there, and they still may be staying at their vibration, but we have moved into a newer vibration, a newer thought. So the people are not in our lives right now, but that means that they don't exist. I 100% believe that.
There's a very beautiful quote by one of the people that that I consider to be one of the truest knowers of the people that know. Does that make sense? His name's Lon Milo Duquette. He is a magician. He practices magic. He's a high priest in the magic world, Western mysticism. And he said that this is based on the idea that we are humans having we're souls having a human experience, and that God is experiencing through us. And he wrote a book under the guise of being Baba Lon. Lon is his name, Lon Milo. And Baba Lon gave all these beautiful quotes of wisdom. And he said, God and I will achieve supreme enlightenment at the same moment. That we are the expressions of the divine. And so when we become enlightened, God also gets to remember who God is through us. And that's really the thing. And Cami made us a thing. I want to address this. And she says, I wonder, does ascension mean a jump from one state to another state, or a continuous slide into an even better timeline? And ascension is not a destination, and the goal is not to jump into a better timeline. The goal, I mean, it might be your goal, but it's not a guarantee. Enlightenment and ascension is going up. It's going up in your vibration. Enlightenment is getting, being enlightened, to bring light in to you. It does not necessitate or even promise betterment of your life. There is nothing other than in the New Age that says, when you, and this is where the New Age is screwy, and this is where the New Age is ungrounded, and this is where the New Age sells a load of bonk, excuse my language, I didn't even say a curse word, but that there's nothing that promises that once you know anything, that your life is going to be easier. What it says is that you will have the awareness that you are not this body, that you are more than the body, but that you're here to experience. Now, when you become detached from the how do you say, the identity of your self as Karen, or yourself as Angie or Christine or Barbara, or you know, as Cami, then you will notice, and this is moving into that observer, that it's Cami, the one who's playing the role called Cami, that's having this experience. The thing that I would also tell you is that every scripture of any religion, of any thought, of any mysticism, Buddhism, whether you can say Buddhism is not a religion, it's a way of life. All of these scriptures never talk about, oh, you reach enlightenment and then you go lay on the beach and, you know, beach boys or girls just bring you drinks all day and they fan you and you just have this perfect existence. No, every journey of the hero, every journey of the soul is wrought with challenges and drama and things to overcome, because it's in our challenges that we have to divest from that thing of who we are. A dark night of the soul is having this identification that everything you believed about yourself, your reality and everything was incorrect. And it's only through that disillusion that you actually find yourself. There's only, in Hinduism, at least, and I can only speak for that, that there's listed only 3 ways you can reach enlightenment: through deep, deep meditation, through death, or through great, great tragedy. What's his name? That guy who wrote the book. What's his name? He's a funny name. I can see his funny face. Eckhart Tolle, right? He talks about that in his book called, somebody give me the name of his book. Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now. He talks about the dissolution of the self, and that is a huge, huge, great book that it really explains that what happened with him is he was living his life, puddling along, and all of a sudden he got this debilitating disease that was basically killing him, and it shattered his whole reality. And in that shattering of his reality, when he thought, here I am, how can I be going through all these things? It shattered his reality, and it kind of forced him to see himself in a different light. And really, that's what the enlightenment is. It's the understanding of who you truly are. Ascension as your vibration is going up. But this idea that you're going to become enlightened and you're going to become ascended, and then everything in your life is just going to work perfectly is it's not only not true, but it's a really defeating thought to think that that's why so many people on the spiritual path go, why am I not there yet? I'm spiritual. Why is my life not going better? Well, maybe you need to go into training and find a different job, or you need to, it's nothing to do almost with your spiritual journey, and people think, oh, I become enlightened, so why don't I have the love of my life? Why don't I have this? Enlightenment is not a destination, it's a state of being, and it's a state of being with which you approach your life, but it's not a destination. So if anything, if you can dispel this idea of you become enlightened and everything gets easier, you become enlightened and we go to this magical, mystical, mystery tour of a timeline, is just not true. It's just not true. Or else all these enlightened people would be doing perfectly. What do you see? Someone's enlightenment and they still don't, they still are trying to deal with like the everyday stuff. They're still having to live their life. There's very few of us that get lifted out, and live a magical life. I mean, we look at people who you consider to be quote unquote successful in this world, who are rich beyond measure, and they're drug addicts, or they're having failed marriages, or they're struggling on one way or the other, and so this better timeline is only going to get better because we take actions as human beings to make our life better, meaning we get involved in our world. We don't retreat from our world, but we get better. We make it better. We make sure that everyone gets to thrive. We make sure that everyone has water, everyone has healthcare, everyone has food, everyone has education, everyone has clothes to wear, that we are not racist, that we are not prejudiced, that we are not restricting the rights of others so that we think that we can be better for power and greed. That's how we create this wonderful world. But it comes from us, and it comes from our action. We are much less at the mercy of the world than we believe. And if anything within enlightenment doesn't lead to conscious action to make your world better, whether it's on the tiniest scale of feeding the homeless dog that you see on the street, or helping your neighbor to take out their trash, then that is, your enlightenment is wasted. If your enlightenment is not making you love your neighbor as yourself and to know that there is no place that I begin and you end, that is what oneness is. We are truly one. We're sectioned off within oneness to have these individual experiences, but the enlightenment tells us who we are, is we are just this being having this amazing time throwing different ideas called Karen and Celeste and Kat and Susan and Wendy into our consciousness to live out these fictional lives. But truly, enlightenment is not a destination. It's not a promise for anything other than knowing yourself, but that's a pretty good thing. And I hope that answered your question. I hope
Well, I just wanted to add on to that, Karen, that it is true, because right now, what society needs to become is knowing you, not allowing the society to dictate who we are, but we know who we are. Because so much of society and the people in the society, they have allowed themselves to allow other people to tell them who they are, how to act, how to be. But really, it's enlightenment is who you are, and not allowing the outside to tell us or to have, allow them to choose how we are, how we feel, how we think. It's
And so much of life today is sort of navigating through that noise.
yes, absolutely.
We do that. We can do that through disconnecting as much as we can from toxic social media,
Right.
from more in nature, from
Yes.
not, just as an example, and, on your phone, which everyone now, we're all like this all the time, but, our phones are constantly interrupting us. Constantly, like our attention span is so tiny compared to what it was. Even when I was a child, I noticed. And, they've even shown now that in an hour, a person is getting done about 6 minutes worth of work because of all the notifications, all of the constant interruptions, how you go to look up something and then you find that you go down some rabbit hole. That we have to now be conscious to take steps to avoid these kind of interruptions, like silencing notification, giving ourselves blocks of time where we're not allowing any interruption, where we don't take social media with us. These are the things that are just, as much as things can be a distraction, this is like an extraction on steroids. I mean, it's just, and it's designed to, it wants us to look at it. It's look, people can say, yes, it wants us, it's evil, la, 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 but it's created by humans. We're the ones creating it. So we can also be the ones to choose to not pay attention. And, but we didn't know. What we don't know, we don't know. And then we have people at Google who are like, okay, we can make everybody love cats. So we're gonna flood everyone with cats. But we also now have to become more savvy. Just as algorithms become more savvy, we have to also be savvy. And the way that we can be savvy is we just turn it off. We turn it off. But that's part of our hero journey. That's a challenge that our ancestors didn't have. So there's one of our dragon that we're fighting is Google. But we need Google sometimes because it's good information. We just don't need all the fluff of Google. You know how they say, and I'll stop in a second. You know how they say if you're going to diet that you should only go to the outer edges of the grocery store where all the fresh fruit is and none of the processed food, that you should just make that square. We have to learn to do that in our life when it comes to a lot of things like social media, what we're ingesting, whether it's food or water or the people that we're at. We have to learn to stay to the outer corners and just stay with the stuff that's natural and pure and unadulterated information. So, yeah. Grassroots equality, Yola said. Yeah. And Metwali said Arjuna had to fight even if he was the best buddies with Krishna. In the Gita, it's the story of Arjuna, who is facing a battlefield of war, and Krishna is his chariot driver. Krishna's God. And basically Arjuna is like, I can't fight these people. I know them. They're my family. They're my, my patriots that I grew up with. And Krishna says, you have to fight. It's your duty. It's your duty to take action in this circumstance, in the right action. Right action, quote unquote, right action is a very important thing. You take action because it's necessary. If you see someone being beat up, you don't say, oh, well, that must be their karma. Screw them. No, you like the Dalai Lama, reach down and you help them. You affect their life in a positive way, even if it is their karma, right? You still can influence their life in a positive way. So action. Okay, Angie, did you have anything to add?
I really didn't have anything to add because that is like, well, perfectly said, in the sense that, we are based on, our lives are based on our actions, and not our words, but just our actions. And so absolutely 100%.
Perfect. Wendy, you said, did I miss being allied for April? What does that mean?
I meant called on.
Oh, if you want to be called, sure, go ahead.
Okay, here, let's step in here where it's shady so we're not gleaming in the sunshine. So you can go ahead and ask your question.
Oh, hi. I just want to know if there were any ancestors watching over me that follow me, take care of me, look over me.
Do you want specific names or do you just want to know if they are?
Yeah, specific names, please.
I don't have any specific names. I was just going to tell you that, of course, they are. I mean, your ancestors are part of you. They're within your DNA. You're their projection into this world. So you really can't get away from them. They're definitely with you, but I don't have any specific names for you.
Okay.
I don't have any.
I feel like
specific
someone's
names.
like looking over me, like maybe my grandma
Okay.
or my husband's mother.
I would trust that feeling. I don't have this specific information. Maybe Angie does, but instead of their ancestors, all I heard was, of course.
For the name Anne.
I definitely 100% saw a female presence with you, 100%. And she actually is there. She talks with you a lot. Sometimes you pick up on it, but don't realize that it's her. But yes, it is definitely a female, 100%. She definitely spoke right up that it was.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. What time is it in
12:46.
Okay, all right.
I also got the name Gertrude that popped up, and I got a yes for grandmother.
Yep,
But I don't know if
I don't
know if the Gertrude, that name just with my claircognizance just popped in. So I don't know if that has any meaning, but.
Are you Hispanic, Wendy? Do you have? Oh, you're Italian. You're Italian, but do you have also? We have Latin, but do you have also Hispanic blood in you or not?
Are you asking me? Yes, I
Yeah.
do. I'm like a mix of the world. I've got I've got East Indian, Native American, Asian, Latin, Spanish, Mexican, Nigerian. And primarily
you? Is she your sister or cousin or what?
No, she's a friend. She's a friend. We're out here on the lake for the weekend, and we're walking through the market.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Do you want to know what she is? Her ancestry?
My ancestry?
Yeah.
German.
Her ancestry is German.
100% German?
A smidge of English.
A smidgen of English, she said.
Okay.
So does the name Gertrude resonate with her, Wendy?
Gertrude? No, I heard the name Anne. I actually was hearing Sarah Ann. So I have a feeling there's possibly more than there's more than one ancestor who's around. And I'm also getting the sense that it's not necessarily a recent. So the names that I'm hearing are not recent, and maybe Susan, the ones that you're hearing is not recent either. But which I would say she needs to trust if she feels like it's her mother, or rather her grandmother's. That's probably who it is. She just needs to trust herself.
Yeah,
For sure.
Gertrude's a German name. So maybe, yeah, it's further back or something.
Yeah. In German, they would say Gertrude. They would. Okay. Does anyone else have a question? I didn't see any other questions from anyone. We could do
Yes, sorry. I think Kat was before me. I have a question for
Oh.
my wife. I'll let
Yeah,
Kat go first.
Okay. Go ahead, Kat. What's your question?
Yeah, if any in the room, do you use crystals and how do you use them?
So what is the question? Do you?
If any in the room here, on the chat room here, if you guys have crystals and how do you use them?
Well, I can answer. I don't use them very often. I don't feel a lot of affinity to crystals, though I know that they're great stores of energy. I do like rocks, which are crystalline, but you know, they are great stores of energy and information. So you would use them for that, to be able to, also they can direct energy. So you would use them in that way. They can
Well,
emit as well as transmit.
the
energy.
one that I use, they're not, they don't store anything. They just amplify energy.
Well, they can do all, I'm saying they can do all kinds of things.
Right.
So
I was just asking like this for different ideas, because I know how I see how they work on me, you know. I mean, with what I have, and I see they have more. They have actually more power than I have, and I'm like, what? Wow. But I was
they've been around a lot
asking,
longer than you have.
huh?
They've been around a lot longer than you have.
Yeah, agree. Yeah, you see, that's good idea. You know, the things that I miss about the crystals, and they bring more old, not old, ancestry energy. That's a
Ancestor.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Because now I can tap into it. You know.
Mhm.
So this kind of answers I'm looking. You know, ideas and.
Well, I mean, think about it this way. They serve a purpose. I mean, they use crystals in computers, right? They use them in chips, and I mean, they do have the ability to transport and store energy. But on a spiritual way, I mean, there's no crystal that's a week old. I mean, crystals are hundreds and thousands of years old. They are the consolidators of the Earth's energies, and we are part of the Earth. Every cell that's ever been has been recycled through us. You know, we are made of stars. We're also made of Earth, and so are these crystals. And they, of course, have the ability to hold and to keep that information. And if psychically you connect to them and they're able to reveal to you what you need to know, because crystals, just like trees, can psychically connect to other crystals and to tap in. There's a sort of worldwide web of crystals that it's a matrix of energy. And if you can connect to a crystal that you feel attracted to, which is a very important thing, you like a certain crystal. Why? Because that crystal is going to work with you. It likes you. It wants to share with you. If you're able to tap into that crystal, then you're able to access that entire web of information, which is huge. You'd also maybe be able to direct energy through, because like I said, crystals can transmit, they can also emit, and they can also hold. So
Yeah, well,
I don't think it's any surprise. You know, everyone's attracted to something different. If you feel akin with a certain crystal or a certain type of crystal, then that's a tool you should be using. Wendy had a comment.
Yes. Okay. So crystals are my thing. I work with them specifically. They've called me to work with them, and I work with them. The energy of the earth comes through them, and just like Karen, information is stored in them. As you know, like your computers, your phones, and all of that use crystals in order to store that information. And so that information is stored. But for you, you can choose the crystal that calls to you and then program it for what you want it to support you with. So if you feel rose quartz often has the energy of love around it. So you can look at rose quartz and go, are you calling me? And if you've got 5 or 6 pieces, maybe you can pendulum or body test to say, this is the crystal that I feel more drawn to. Take that. And then when you get home, cleanse it. You can cleanse it with sage. You can cleanse it by setting it out in the sunlight. You can set it out in the moonlight to cleanse it. Or you can use salt water and you can cleanse it that way. Now be careful with your crystals because not all crystals can take to water. So I would say it's safer to put them outside and ground them. Once they've been grounded, you can do an hour or however much time you want. If you want more sun energy, raw energy, then I would go ahead and put it in the sunshine. If you want some divine feminine energy, put it out at night. Maybe you want both. And so it's up to you how you want to charge it and cleanse it. Then the next best thing to do with your crystals is to sit with it and meditate. This is not necessary. You may just want to have a bowl of them because you like the energy of them. But if you feel really drawn to one, grab it, hold it in your hands, close your eyes and meditate and just ask it, do you have any messages for me? And then trust. You might hear something, you might feel something, you might be guided to, oh, I just want to go for a walk and have it in my pocket. Maybe it's a pocket crystal. So you can work with these crystals in a variety of ways. You can also take different energies from different crystals and put them together. So maybe you feel like you want to use a labradorite or a sodalite. Or you want to use, a cleansing crystal or black obsidian, which is, a beautiful crystal. You don't even have to cleanse it, but it takes away negative energy. So there are books about them. There are YouTube channels that you can look specifically up on. There's you can just look for the name of your crystal. You can just Google search it, check out the web, and you can find information, and you can just say crystals to support health or something along those lines. And so once you've made your decision what you want to work with, then just do so intentionally from the heart, and just trust that you know what's best for you. That's all I have.
Good suggestions of experimenting. So far, I use them. I have a huge one that I use, and I just touch it, and I feel lighten up. It's like, and it's sweeping away my body pains, the ones that I'm trying to heal, and it's like accelerating. And I did this in the last probably month, and I start to heal like super accelerated. And I don't know, lucky me, I know what to do because this is like Formula One thing, spiritual.
Exactly. And if you're
spiritual
charging them and asking them to assist you with a specific body pain, it will help you even more greatly, more fully.
Yeah. Good suggestions. Experimenting at night, daylight, super nice, super good.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Enjoy.
Thank
And
you.
crystals are healing. You can even do like a setup. Just find your crystals and set them around your body in different spots. You can rotate them. Maybe you want to put them on your body, put it on each of your chakras. You might need somebody to assist you with it so they're not rolling off if they're round.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. And then just sit in the energy of it because they're here to help. They're here to help. And they're definitely a network. And you don't have to be necessarily like, say, for example, you see an image of a crystal and you're like, oh my God, that's such a beautiful amethyst. You don't have to be in its presence to connect with it. You just have to set your intention in your mind to connect with that crystal and then get the energy that way. I warn caution with that though, because sometimes if you're really feeling energy, you might get bombarded and be like, whoa. So make sure you're grounding when you're working with crystals. Make sure you're grounding. That's all I have. Blessings to you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, Medwali said in the YouTube chat, he said crystals can be friends. That's absolutely for sure. And then Yolo said Reiki plus rocks is an interesting meditation science. And I agree with that. Yes. So whatever, everyone feels drawn to different tools. Crystals are one and trees are another and all kinds of other things. So I think you have to go with what calls to you because that's what
I
you
know.
are.
Yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
playing. I'm just playing. Have fun with them. It's not. And I think I had quite some information so far, of like suggestions of what to do with them. Yeah, super nice.
Awesome. Great. All right, we are at the end of our day. I think. Am I right? Am I correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Because it's 10:30 for me, so it's a half-hour weird thing. So
It is.
yeah, this has been really fun and enjoyable. We'll do this again.
Yes, definitely.
And I think tag team channeling is the way to go.
Yeah.
Lots of nice information.
All right.
Angie has some announcements.
Yep, I'll make my announcements. So first we have our channeling class coming up. That is next week. Oh my gosh, I don't know why I said that. My channeling class is Saturday, October 15th. 1:30 to 4:30, 1:30 to 5:30 Eastern Standard Time. Jim will be facilitating that class. If you are interested in that, it's $150. Classes at hucolo.org. I will get the information out to you about registering for that class, or if you have questions. This class is for anyone that wants to learn channeling, has already channeled, but wants to increase their skills, or just, there's going to be a lot of direct instruction on that, is what Jim told me. And so, yeah, even I'm looking forward to that. The next class that we are going to have is, it's a mastering tarot cards, and Karen will be the instructor in that. We're going to do that mid-January. The date has not been set. Mid-January, if you're interested in that, again, $150. Send inquiries or questions to classes@hucolo.org. Karen, I'll let you just give a brief synopsis on that.
Okay, so basically the class will be, it's about learning to pull you off the book of tarot and to teach you how to really use the symbolism to create your own story and your own interpretation of what you're getting, and to really get the messages that are within tarot, as opposed to like reading every meaning. It's being able to look at it and see what the symbolism is meaning. It's also to trust your intuition in a more direct way. And it's just a method that I've developed over many years of doing tarot, and it just sort of evolved, but it's a very teachable method. And you can use, and one of the ways that I'm able to use tarot and teach very specifically is you can use tarot to learn about your past life, or learn about your guides, or to even facilitate your channeling. And that's what we'll be teaching. We'll be teaching the spread that teaches you how to contact other beings, whether they're alive or dead or present or on another planet. So we'll be specifically doing that. Yeah.
Very good.
And we're just whether they are, as like Theos is not in a body, but it allow you to facilitate contact, and mostly to get a clear understanding of who and what and why they are.
Thank you. So if you are interested in either class, please shoot an email to classes@hucolo.org, and I will get the information out to you.
All right. So Barbara didn't do a blessing in the beginning. Do you want to do a blessing to take us out, Barbara?
Sure, I'll do one.
Okay.
Okay, great. Go ahead.
Tatatiana hatakasia tahotokiana. Katahana katia takolmania takanashi. Kikikina tata tihatotomiati. Kinana hatakana hiatatashia tanododi. Kikiata tokoshona manakiatiata. Kana hatiata korotiasha. Diata diatoto diata. Namaste.
Namaste. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much. Much love to you. It was really nice having this beautiful webinar together. And next week, Jim will be back, and Angie's going to check on who the Kalindi being is for Posthuman 3. If I'm not able to get the information, or if Angie is too busy, but definitely next week we'll get that question answered for you. So, okay. All right. Much love, everyone. Have a fantastic week. Stay happy, stay safe, meditate.